What is up, everyone? Welcome to Plastic Cards Podcast, a show where we break down the video game news of the week. My name is Fonzie, and I'm joined by my co-host, indie game dev extraordinaire, Gavin Jones. Gavin, how are you?
Hello. Gavin's good.
Gavin is good.
Ready now that we can breathe again outside. That's a handy dandy thing you take for granted.
When you can't fucking breathe. Yeah, no, it was like I went on a hike on Saturday, and it was just at the hill, and it was awesome. And you could see past, the parking lot, and it was dope. Yeah, I definitely needed that. I need to get definitely back into shape. Like that's the goal, because it's COVID-19 or COVID 40 pounds, whatever the normal saying.
The COVID 40 pounds.
Yeah,
I'd believe that. It's for every it's like every 5 pounds I can get off, it's immediately added back on in like a week.
Yeah.
Absolutely killing me.
Do you ever try going with certain diets? Do you ever try keto or anything?
I would try keto. I think the biggest thing that I've kind of heard as a whole, as far as weight loss things, is never do anything that you cannot stick with. Because keto, it's great for losing a lot, but people gain that weight back instantly.
Yeah, you really have to make your lifestyle that way.
Yeah.
Quick shout out to Ultimazod, the follow on Twitch. Thanks for that. Pew, pew, pew. If you're looking at us for health advice or diet tips, we're not the right people, that's for sure. But I'll experiment and tell you what happens to my body. I'll update.
I always experiment and I just get stickier.
Means you're doing something right, Gavin. How was your week playing games? Anything crazy going on?
Fuck. This weekend I spent so much time playing games. I think that was all I did. Yeah. I ended up playing. I watched The Boys, which fucking get caught up.
I need to.
It's this season's gonna be upsetting. I think is really going to be.
That's kind of the vibe in the first one too. That
was last year,
yeah. So I guess I'm ready for that, but hopefully it's not just punch you in the balls dark the entire time. They seem to balance the comedy with it too.
Right. So far it's not absolutely the worst, but it is if at any point they want to kill off a main character, I'm gonna be fucking wrecked. I don't know that Starlight's making it to the end of the season. I really don't. But so far she's still alive. They've only killed off one character, really.
Gotcha.
Two. And then that, and I've been watching a lot of Woke on Hulu.
Oh yeah, you're telling me you weren't sure if it was funny or but you were watching it still.
I at this point I would say it's not funny. I feel like it's imagine I really like the writing among the people. It kind of reminds. Did you ever watch New Girl?
Yeah.
So it's kind of got that really sort of realistic level of dialogue.
Okay.
Whereas it's just people being kind of raw with each other. But it's not funny. But it's really good, and I love that main character. I'm very upset that I accidentally thought it was somebody else.
And I remember them just because they're on SNL. I want to say it's Chris Redd, if I'm remembering correctly, but
I don't think he was on SNL.
No, maybe I think someone else did. So
we're both racist. All right.
No, I think we're around. Yeah, we're racist. So no, that guy is from New Girls. Yeah,
that's the guy from New Girls. So you're saying the guy from SNL? I thought it was the guy from.
See, I think he's on a different show. That's what I must be thinking of. Now I'm just googling the term woke. Okay, so the woke cast. But yeah, so you're still not sure. Okay, the guy from New Girl, but also there's a dude from Workaholics in there too.
Workaholics, yeah.
She's from SNL. So Sashir Zaman. I think she left last season.
Is she?
But yeah, she was on SNL.
Keith David is going to be a character named Bible. And Jack McBrayer. Oh, those are going to be voice actors for. He sees things.
Oh, so there's animation involved?
Yeah, early in the first episode, he's a victim of police brutality, and something about that head injury makes him see things.
Gotcha.
So he's seeing things, and he's a cartoonist, so all of a sudden things are being cartoons. It's really fucking funny. It's really well written. It definitely makes me think about writing race shit has to be, because you can't just be any old dummy on the street. And write you have stuff about race.
And I would trust, although companies fuck up all the time, but I would trust they get the right writers to do it and to properly vet it and just making sure okay, does it sound cool to everybody? And just make sure the cast and the actual writing room is diverse. There's a way to do it and still, just do it well. But yeah, I'm interested. Although you tell me it's not super funny. I might watch the first episode. And see how it
at
goes. This
point, I wouldn't even say it's funny, but I think it's worth a watch. I think it's really good.
Gotcha.
But it's also another case of the main character self-sabotaging, and it kills you, because if he just believed in himself, he'd have no fucking problems. Like, it always turns out if he just stopped second guessing himself, he'd be fine.
I see.
But he can't stop.
Gotcha.
So yeah, super good. Aside from that, I've been playing me some. God, I played too much Teamfight Tactics. Basically all of Saturday.
That's your is that one of your go-tos basically?
It's my drug.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was the thing. They released a new version of Teamfight Tactics that basically changed everything. So now I don't know how to fucking play.
Oh, really?
So I had to spend a whole day failing just to pull out one win.
Is it like DLC or it's an update that changes the normal gameplay?
Think like season changes in Fortnite, but imagine they replaced every single gun, every single building type, like
so it's
everything
legit then.
Yeah, this was a huge fucking change, which I couldn't properly adjust to. So it took basically almost 2 days worth of playing. But been playing that.
Yeah.
Played a bit of Inmost, which we should pull up on screen.
Inmost.
Which I think we've mentioned multiple times on the stream, but I've never started playing it. And this is such a good fucking art game. Like, it's definitely art. I wouldn't call the gameplay good, but it's like, and I really love this cool mix of, really nice mix of 8-bit aesthetic with, like, you can see the way the lighting, and then you've got these circles and and these particle effects that aren't necessarily 8-bit. And it looks gorgeous, and I hope the studio does more with that art style and makes different types of games. But I'm really going to be curious. So this little girl's in like modern times, it looks like.
Okay.
And the other two characters that you play as, so there's this guy. That scene was fucking weird when it happens. And then there's this like knight character, and they all play very differently. But the knight character and this character are definitely in the same world. So there's the knight. I really want to know how they connect to the little girl, and I wonder, like, are they a figment of her imagination? Is this all a metaphor? I don't know. But so far, God, it's fucking cool. And it's only 4 hours long, so I gotta knock it out.
Okay. The gameplay does look fun though, but is it not transferring, at least from this trailer, to like how you're playing it? Is it not same kind of vibe?
I would put it with, like, there's certainly something I believe in games is you don't have to be fun if you can be really fucking interesting.
Gotcha.
So I'm not having fun, but I'm interested.
That's true. Yeah. If you can have enough of a carrot, at least like leading you on that, like, I want to see what happens in the story versus having fun playing the game. But yeah.
And then the last thing I was playing was BPM, bullets per minute.
Ooh, tell me about that, because I forgot that came out.
Ooh, daddy. I saw a YouTube video, call it Doom the Musical, and I fucking love that description.
That's dope.
This is it's not as bloody as Doom, but it is pretty hardcore. I think one thing it does differently, like, so Doom forces you to be really up close. In this sort of does it by making your game or your gun stupid short ranged.
Okay.
Like, you have no range, so you need to get up in something's fucking face. Oh, you have I had this power up last time I was doing well. He has, I think it's called Solar Flare, and it makes every bullet a shotgun.
Oh, nice.
And so I managed to get Solar Flare plus exploding bullets. So when I'm just start pressing the trigger, everything's exploding in front of me.
Jesus.
And
is it randomly generating, or it's all kind of calibrated?
Yeah. So these levels are procedurally generated.
Wow.
I would say very good procedural generation too. These levels are fun. They're interesting. You can sort of see the map in the top left corner, which does a good job of letting you know in advance what rooms you're going to be walking into.
Now, explain the gameplay as far as like the musical aspect. Do you have to shoot on beat, or is it just? Oh, okay.
The only thing you don't do on beat is move. So movement
Gotcha.
is free, but jumping, double jumping, dashing, shooting, and reloading is all on beat. And the important thing to note there too is, like, reloading is different for every gun. So like this gun right here, this is your starting weapon. You press the reload button twice.
Oh,
which seems dumb, but when you're playing it, it feels fucking great.
Gotcha.
Or if you have like the 3-button reload weapon, the first gun that they were using there, the revolver, where you had to reload every single round.
Is there not a benefit? Is there any kind of penalty for being offbeat? How does that work?
So that multiplier in your top right, you lose that.
Oh,
So that's your
gotcha.
score.
I
It also, I want to say, so at the end of the round, it'll say like how well you cleared the room. I'm guessing it affects what sort of rewards you get at the end of the room. I'm guessing you get better rewards if you're on time
Gotcha.
and don't get hit.
Is there any? This game is super focused on sound. There's like no. Is there any visual cues to when you're?
So right there in the middle,
Yeah,
that's your crosshair. You see those things coming into the center. That's when you hit it. And this player is
Gotcha.
currently playing. So they're only hitting it on the solid bars. You can hit it in the middle there, and so they're playing quite slow.
Gotcha.
Although what the fuck are these skulls they're collecting? I don't know what those are.
I don't either. But I did see this online, at least the trailers a while ago, and this looks really cool. I do want to play it. I imagine it's just PC right now.
I don't know.
And your card is still playing this fine? Like, can you have
no,
to,
I lag. So when I was playing
this
that
is
build
essential,
where everything was shotgunned, and now it shouldn't run this poorly. Look at these visuals. These are just okay. That's actually my complaint. Like per area you're in, everything is one drab fucking color, and that sucks.
okay.
Also everything is oversaturated, and it really didn't need to be.
It seems that way, unless that's their whole style. But
right. Well, I mean, it is, and I'm not the only one that had this complaint, which sucks because the enemy's design looks cool, your gun looks cool. It didn't need this oversaturated design,
right.
Yet they went with that.
Yeah, they're kind of washed out where you can't tell the detail on what you're shooting.
What the fuck are these skulls?
I don't know.
Is that part of the ring they have on?
Maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah. You're digging it?
Yeah. But yeah, it's really fun. It's very addictive. It's a solid roguelite, and I think people that like Doom and like Crypto the Necrodancer will like this.
Nice.
I don't think you need to like the big difference between this and the Crypto the Necrodancer, I will say though, is so Crypto the Necrodancer changes up the rhythm every single level.
Okay.
And sometimes it'll even do weird rhythms when you're on a boss fight. Oh, this fucking boss took me like 15 times trying to finally beat it. But
like the music changing is what you're mentioning?
Yeah, they won't change the tempo on the gun. It's always that same tempo, which I think they do to make your guns balanced. But yeah, Crypto the Necrodancer will change that up. And honestly, I think it'd be too much in this game if they did change that up. But
maybe with an update. I don't know if that would completely change the gameplay though. But
it'd be too fucking hard. Yeah. I did play weird. There are curses in this, much the same as like Binding of Isaac. And there was one curse I had where this boss would get smaller every time I shot it. And so towards the end of the fight, it was really hard. They may have that modifier. I can't tell here.
I don't know if they're changing shape too much, but
yeah,
that's interesting.
Anyway, super interesting game.
Nice.
If you're curious, it's $20. Throw these people $20 for doing something.
It's not bad at all.
Really original.
Right.
Really original.
Yeah, I'd seen. I haven't read any reviews or impressions yet, but I'm hoping this still stays on the radar for people online. But
the biggest complaint I've heard from reviews is A, that it's one color per area, and then B, if you can't get your items going, you really can't beat it.
Gotcha.
And a lot of other roguelites, like I've beaten Spelunky with just like a hope and a fucking prayer. Like no items, nothing, just like please, nothing kill me. Whereas this, yeah, you need those items. Otherwise you're not going anywhere. But what about you? What'd you play this weekend?
I jumped around a little bit. I got to try. So part of that whole PlayStation 5 conference, they announced that the first beta for the new Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War was free. Things. Yeah, it was cool. It was free this weekend. So I was playing it, but I just kept dying so much that I just stopped at a certain point because it was cool. It was solid. I didn't notice any issues. They're using a different engine. So whatever, is it Raven that's now handling it? So that's whatever their engine is. But it functions just like a regular Call of Duty. It's just I kept dying over and over and over again.
Different engine?
Yeah, I want to say it is, but I could be wrong. Thank you, Depeche Mode, or Depeche 83 is not following. Appreciate that. But yeah, so got to try this beta. It was really cool. It's very much more Call of Duty. The maps are what sent it out to me because this like 80s Miami like street level is so dope. It's at night, everything's reflecting, and there's like the puddles, the neon lights are really cool. There's a sand level, and I'm not sure if this is in this footage that I'm watching, but the sand level is insane. That was probably my favorite, just because there's so many caverns and like and trenches and stuff high up, and you can snipe from far away on part of the map, and it looks really dope. This is still PS4 footage, but it looks insanely dope. I can't imagine what this is going to look like on next gen, but
Now, so you played this on your PC?
no, on PS4 Pro. It's free this weekend for PlayStation, part of their deal, and then in October there's an open beta for all platforms.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was cool.
So do you think you would buy this on console, or do you think you'd go for PC now that you had this souped up power PC?
I kind of go back and forth where I'm on the other side with the PC, and I still haven't adjusted to all the little like things you have to adjust with having a PC and having to get used to drivers and all that bullshit. It's like I love when my console just works. So I think I even respect it more now as a person who's built a PC. So I think I would just play this on console. But if it's cheap enough, in the future, I think I'll play this on PC with everything turned up. Although with next gen stuff, this would look dope, I'm sure, on Xbox Series S and PS4 or PS5. But yeah, this map is nuts and the gameplay's solid. It's just it's not the Warzone part of it. It's just the traditional multiplayer maps.
Sure.
But so far, I'm digging it. It's no longer available. It was just free for that weekend. But yeah, I mean, it was easy to jump in. And then I played a bunch more Tony Hawk Pro Skater, loving that game, and just trying to get all the different little achievements or trophies. But there was another one that I jumped into. Oh, Crysis. Got to play Crysis Remastered.
I was actually just watching
Is it Digital Foundry?
Yeah.
Yep.
I watched that thing on it. And it is very interesting to see where it's improved and where it has some serious shortcomings. Like one of the ones that bugged me the most was the way the skin, the subsurface scattering and the way skin looked in the original game compared to the new one. Like, man, that is like going from seriously some of the best looking skin to fucking dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Man,
I was impressed on the foliage, the crazy textures. Like it ran really well on my PC. I guess I didn't.
You were playing on your PC.
Yeah, I was playing on PC. Yeah. And I was reading later on that there's issues with like the Xbox One X version because they're doing like software ray tracing, and I guess it's just making it crap its pants. But playing on PC, it ran really well. I didn't realize how, for me, that I thought the AI was very dumb. Like there's often times where it's just kind of walk around and not knowing what the hell's going on.
It sounds like they didn't change the AI from the original. They've just made the game prettier.
Basically.
But the AI was like truly stupid in the original.
Yeah, and I feel like back when it was announced or shown off, that was one of the big things is the AI had some kind of advanced component to it. But I don't notice that in this, and maybe it's just because of 15 years has passed or whatever, but it seems like the AI is severely lacking. But I mean, it runs beautiful. It looks beautiful. So I don't have a whole bunch of issues with it. It is weird to use my controller. It doesn't give you a bunch of options to calibrate the controller options versus the keyboard options. But other than that, I mean, it's cool. I don't know if I'll finish it. I think because I probably have like 3 or 4 versions of Crysis, whether it's like on Xbox, on PlayStation. I bought the different remasters they've done over the years, and I never finished this game. And so I'm doubtful that I will finish it. But it was $20, on Epic. And yeah, that's cool. Just at least tax my PC and see how it runs. Yeah. That was one of my biggest draws to this, was to see if it can handle it. But yeah,
it's definitely interesting that with the original, that skin looks
it's kind of
murderous. With the original, it was just one of the most taxing games out there on PC, and you'd think they wouldn't go that route with the remake, and they're like, nope, we're going there again.
Yeah, have you seen the Can It Run Crysis mode that they've added onto it?
No.
So it's this mode that like it's with everything turned up and it's in 4K. So they're the dev, I forget who does Crysis, Crytek. Their whole thing is like no graphics card on the market can handle it running 4K 30 frames per second. But recently, I want to say it was PC Gamer, they had their 3080 card and they ran it at 37 frames per second. So it is possible, but at the time it wasn't possible with like everything turned up. But no, it's crazy beautiful, and it's still a fun game. Like it's pretty nuts. And that was the whole thing when it launched back in the day, was like everything reacts to the physics. So all those different huts, you can throw a grenade and it just pops everything. All the walls fall down, the ceiling.
So this is something I saw in that Digital Foundry that's definitely really impressive is they talked about the self-shadowing and how much better that makes things look. And if you really do look at the hands and the guns up close, that looks really cool. The way everything just lights or shadows on itself up close, much better than we've had before.
It's really solid, remake. There is a bunch of issues, and Digital Foundry kind of laid it out, but I mean, nothing I can really pick apart when I'm playing it. But they go into the nitty gritty, counting all the frames and the resolution and stuff. But yeah, I thought it was definitely fun.
Yeah.
Playing that, it was kind of a nostalgic trip back in the day. I do remember when you were probably the first one who actually showed off or told me that Crysis was a thing and looked into
Right.
it, and seeing all one of the big selling points was the fact that you could like mow down the forest and see the trees fall down and the crazy physics, and it's just cool to play it now.
I remember it being strange because I had built my PC maybe 2 years before Crysis came out, and it was a pretty good, PC for a high schooler. It was probably the most I could afford at the time. And I think I ran Crysis on my PC at pretty well full.
Okay.
And but it was just pure luck, because that was the thing. Can you run Crysis had less to do with, is your PC bad enough to run Crysis? Is more that they made the bet that people were going to be more about strong single CPU and single GPU PCs rather than multi-cores. And so my PC was strong single, whereas most people are heading towards multi. And I guess that's sort of the way the industry as a whole has gone. I don't really understand. I don't know how the fuck I'd even program for multi-core GPUs or CPUs to begin with.
Yeah, me either.
But it's
so because you had one it was stronger with the whole.
I just got
core.
lucky. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I purely got lucky, and that's why I could run this game mostly full back in the day.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm playing that. You know what? I did finally download the Master Chief Collection on PC, so I'm ready to jump in whenever you want to jump in and play online.
Bitch! I forget the rest of that vine.
Well, yeah, we can jump into news. There's a bunch of stuff here.
Oh,
so
fuck. We got so much news.
Yeah, let's pick it apart. This first one is some Cyberpunk news. So we got that.
Starting off strong.
Yep. Night City Wire 3 happened, and we got some. We're talking about PC specs. We got some PC specs for Cyberpunk on PC. It's not, so this picture is kind of pixelated, but it's not that insane. So like 12 gigs memory is the recommended settings. You got
now in your build that you made for me on PC Part Builder, did you give me 12 gigs?
I think I have it at 16. That's kind of like the standard everyone has, but I can do 32. Like it's totally doable. It's like $100 extra. It's actually, RAM is super cheap. So, but yeah,
we're gonna spend all our hundreds on the graphics cards. I think that's
that's
if you're telling me it's industry standard, I'm gonna take you at your fucking word here.
That's from the 5 minutes I've been messing with PCs. That seems like the
well, you've got like a whole, so you probably have.
I have 32, but just because RAM is cheap, where you can another $100 and you got way more RAM than you need, and that's one of the only components where you can. It's cheap enough to just overkill it. Everything else, it's like it's matching your dollar. Right.
But as long as I have a motherboard that can handle more.
Yeah, and a lot of them, their base minimum is like 32. So
see, that's my thing with my motherboard. I can only put 2 sticks in.
Gotcha. Yeah, a lot of them now are 4. So
it should be 4. I think 4 should be the default.
It is, yeah. And but you're living in like 20-year-old hardware or whatever. But
yeah,
I saw the dust on your graphics card. It's not something to mess around with. But yeah, so we got specs, which is boring, but it just shows that like basically any machine can run this thing, which is nuts because I was expecting something really demanding. Of course, to get like 60 frames per second, everything turned up, you're gonna need something more hardcore, but the entry point is super low. And they showed off some footage, which we can check out, just more of the gang component. So they went into detail on
there's a lot of gangs in this game. I'm really curious. Can we join them? It really didn't say, but I definitely want to join the thicc boys and maybe the cyber creeps, the cyber perverts, as I'm going to call them, the ones that were just showing.
Right.
Or maybe the Japanese people with their swords and their like katanas. Like they seem cool. Like,
yep.
I don't know. In a world where everyone's bad, like the bad guys seem kind of fucking dope.
I think, you're this is definitely a villain kind of power fantasy for sure. But
yeah,
they did mention in one of the interviews that you can't officially join a gang because your character is assigned to its own gang, but you can still take a bunch of jobs and align with these gangs. You can work for them, but you can't like join them, which would be dope if you could do that. But
I mean, that would add like, and this game's already going to have a ton of replayability as it is.
Oh, for sure.
But like, man, I just play through so many times aligning with a different gang every time. Like, even these guys, I can get my fuck yeah America on. Like, yeah, they seem depressing from our current state of affairs, but
yeah. No, it looks rad. Like all the gangs they show just look crazy dope, and
the fucking voodoo.
Like, and they're like net runners, so they're hacking in all the time.
Man, I really hope this game doesn't suck.
I don't know how it can. Like, even if it's fine, like their level of fine is going to blow everyone else out of the water. This year has been insane for games for sure, but
I
this is
think
going to be the icing on the cake.
I think one thing to really say about this though is, you know, there were rumors that like really this game was never intended to hit this gen. And yeah, these are the ones that I want to align.
Oh
with.
yeah, like the
fucking
UFC fighters. Yeah.
Yeah, just give me my katana and my beefy arms and let me go nuts.
Yep.
But yeah, so like that was the thing. It was, people thought it was never really expected to hit this gen, and the fact that it can hit those specs
Right.
and look this pretty. No, this was 100% intended to hit this generation.
Yeah.
100%.
Which is crazy with what they're able to pull off with how deep this world is, and just the visuals alone. Like it's just fucking insane, and they're able to nail it. The driving always kind of weirded me out. I was thinking how they're going to handle frame rates and stuff like that, but it seems like they're all able to, generate the world around you, whether you're driving or walking. So
yeah. And again, I think something I brought up recently is like Atomic Heart looks oddly enough better than this game, which is like, so how hard is that going to be pushing my system?
That's true. Although it's different. It's like apples and oranges, right? Where it's more controlled levels. They can kind of do the loading, and this one.
No, they're both fully fucking open world.
Is it? Okay.
I think Atomic Heart to me looks like an open world BioShock in some fucking Russia version. I don't know what to even call that art style.
I think you're right. Yeah, that's true.
This is weird punk, if you will.
Weird punk is its own, yeah. Russian punk or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they showed off a bunch of cyberpunk stuff and cannot fucking wait. It's still November. They said they have no intention on pushing this, so it's ready to go, or it's gonna be hit that deadline. So cannot wait. Make sure I get my 3080 ready for this thing, but
Jesus,
you can't buy them because they're instantly sold out. So
is
that was
3080. Is that the really expensive one?
No, that's the mid tier. So that's what happened the day after the PS5.
I want the mid tier. That's the one I want,
and that's what a lot of people wanted, but all the bots got it. So the day after the PS5, pre-orders went live, which weren't supposed to happen on Thursday. On Friday morning, the 3080 that was planned went live, but bots got it in like 3-4 seconds. Like it was literally that instant, and they went into it in detail afterwards. It was just bots. People wrote these programs to just scoop it all up, and they all ended up on eBay. But that was the 3080, which is a $700 card, which is still like 10 gigs of RAM. It's nuts.
Yeah.
The entry point one is a 3070. That's the $500
which
card.
I'd fucking take.
Yeah, that one is. It's gonna be even harder to get. This one was already super hard to get. But that one is super doable. It's way more powerful than anything on the market. It's $500. And then eventually the 3090, which is like the $1,500 card. It's nuts. But there's that one too. That I don't know who's gonna buy that, but yeah.
I don't think that.
But it was a whole debacle.
It takes up 4 motherboard slots. Like,
yeah, it's gonna be a separate motherboard just for this thing that plugs into your motherboard. But yeah, there's that. So we got some Cyberpunk. Just more news, more hype for this game. Cannot wait. After that, so we got this was just today, which is like easily maybe the biggest news of the year. The fact that Microsoft has purchased Bethesda and ZeniMax, really the parent company, for $7.5 billion. There are some details.
7.5. I thought it was 4.5.
No.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, not that $1 billion is a small amount.
Right.
I mean, I'm honestly still surprised that they got him for that amount. That's a big fucking get.
Yeah. It's huge. And the dollar, is definitely matching their value for sure. Cause that's a huge thing to pay for. But you get all these different studios.
That's the thing though, is like, are you really getting those studios, or were you just those publishers? Like, what? I really don't understand the legalities of this.
So same once they announced that, then there were some more details that came out. So some of the stuff is in here as far as like the actual details on what this deal makes. But so this is from VentureBeat. Jeff Grubb has the article. Pre-orders for the Xbox Series X and S begin tomorrow, and Microsoft just gave fans a reason to feel good about showing up to the next gen party. Xbox is acquiring Bethesda Softworks and its parent company ZeniMax Media. Bethesda is a publisher responsible for Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom. So as part of the deal, Microsoft is paying $7.5 billion in cash for ZeniMax Media, which I don't even know what $7.5 billion cash would look like, but yeah.
It's best not to think about it.
So that fee will get Microsoft all Bethesda's properties, as well as 8 studios with 2,300 employees. Those teams include Bethesda, id Software, ZeniMax Online, Arcane, on and on. So with publishing, we talked about that. Bethesda's SVP of PR marketing, Pete Hines, Hines states as part of an interview, Heinz states in part, but the key point is we're still Bethesda. We're still working on the same games we were yesterday, made by the same studios we've worked with for years, and those games will be published by us.
With slightly better, product testing, maybe. Maybe
That's
some
interesting.
quality control.
I'm hoping.
No.
That's one hopeful benefit is they can lean on Microsoft to QA to do stuff like that. They're a huge company, but they've had issues with a bunch of recent games.
I mean, I'm just saying, if Microsoft's willing to push back Halo for quality,
yeah, oh yeah, everything getting pushed at.
yeah,
Bethesda,
you're gonna walk into Bethesda and say, "Look, fuckers, change this goddamn engine for the love of God."
You know what? They did announce a little tidbit on this whole thing when this news came out. They're working on this new and improved engine for Starfield. I want to say what the next one's called. What it looks like when it comes out, yeah, it's still in question, but they are working on a new engine.
Now, by improved engine, do you mean you've changed the base? Because you haven't changed the base since the beginning,
right.
And this is why we keep having problems.
Right.
So unless you change out the innards, I don't give a fuck what the outside looks like.
Yeah, you're right. They need a whole renaissance there, but I imagine they realize that.
I mean, again, like you look at the fucking Outer Worlds, they picked up a goddamn industry standard engine.
Yeah, was it UE4 or something?
It was UE4, and we were playing like essentially a Fallout game where it wasn't crashing and full of bugs. Like
Right.
I'm like, I don't know how to experience this kind of game with it not being constantly broken.
Yeah. I guess to their credit, or the other side of the argument is it's not fully open world like Fallout. It is still semi-open world,
It
quasi-open.
could have been, though.
It could have been. You'd think that it comes down to just like optimizing it and getting the right minds in there. But yeah, they were able to make it work. So yeah. So we're talking about publishing. So with Game Pass, that's another big question mark. So with the addition of Bethesda,
they in there like skid marks.
Yes. With the addition of Bethesda,
phrase.
Microsoft will grow from 15 to 23 creative studio teams. Will be adding Bethesda's iconic franchises to Xbox Game Pass. Microsoft said in a statement or an announcement, this includes Microsoft's intent to bring Bethesda's future games into Xbox Game Pass the same day they launch on Xbox or PC, like Starfield, the highly anticipated new space epic currently in development by Bethesda Game Studios. That's one big question is, are we going to get these same caliber of games? Because it's now first party, and all of that's been Xbox's commitment is all their first party is day and day one on Game Pass. So does that mean still juggernauts like Starfield eventually?
Yes.
The next Fallout?
That's what it means.
That's nuts. And I mean, that's a huge get for them if they go that route, which they easily could. I think that's still in their mantra to do that.
Yeah. I have a theory. Again, I keep coming back to the xCloud. And I've been saying this with Starfield because they were saying Bethesda has had plans to make Starfield for years and years and years and years and years, for like ever. And they said they would never make it until the technology was there to make this game. I've been saying that Stadia like they finally announced it when they said when cloud technology was around. So I think they need the cloud to run this game. And I think they're going to use xCloud for Stadia, or not Stadia, Starfield. I think this game needs either some serious cloud backend, or it needs to straight up run in the cloud from the get-go and render out to someone's PC.
No, that's definitely possible. I guess my devil's advocate to that would be you can do that, but then you can't go cross-platform. And maybe that's not their intention now that they're with Xbox.
Cross-platform between PC, Xbox, and phone.
Yeah, and Stadia, I guess you could throw them in the mix too, but like PlayStation doesn't have anything like that that's comparable setup, so they'd be locked out.
That's too bad.
Right.
It would suck if Microsoft had that.
And they do. But that's one of the questions people have is that are they going to play ball with PlayStation, allowing certain games to release there when they own this property? They haven't really done that this gen, like say Minecraft, they own that Mojang, but Minecraft's everywhere still. So they still allow these games.
They making money literally fucking everywhere.
That's the thing. So I guess with Starfield, the only thing that comes up to mind why they wouldn't go that route is also they'd have to be planning that dev wise. They'd have to like throw it all in the garbage.
Man, if you get the xCloud on Sony PlayStation,
that'd be nuts. They would like fucking light themselves on fire before doing that. Just because they don't like to play
what
ball.
if Nintendo did it first and they're like, fuck?
That'd be nuts. But yeah, so Game Pass, they have still the commitment to have these games come out day one with Game Pass. They also announced some stats on Game Pass. Subscriptions have jumped 50% in the last 6 months. There are now 15 million subscribers,
I believe it,
on Game Pass, which is insane.
I finally jumped on that shit, and
Yeah, you're a haterade drinker, a guzzler, so yeah, you finally jumped on. And
it's a fact,
right?
It's
no,
objective.
That's your life. We're talking about games coming to or being exclusive now with Xbox as far as like the Bethesda deal.
Which, by the way, just real quick on that, Deathloop, didn't know until today that was a PlayStation exclusive. I'm still trying to figure out if it's coming to PC. For the love of God, bring it to PC.
It might come to PC before it comes to other consoles. Well, that was one thing they announced at that conference.
It's a
the
timed
PS5
exclusive.
Yeah, it's timed. So I think it's just a year or whatever they do. But yeah, they announced it at that conference. So that's fresh. The fact that it was aligned with PlayStation. But that throws everything out of whack. Now they have this deal with Bethesda. Although that's one of the things here. They're going to honor any contracts they had prior.
Right.
So Deathloop is still a timed exclusive with PlayStation. There's another one, a Ghost Wire Tokyo, still
Which
timed.
also looks dope.
Yep.
I didn't know that was Bethesda.
Yeah, it's like one of their other Zatango. It's one of their other studios.
That was the first person game where you're like just whooping ass on
and it's
ghosts.
like magic and Tokyo
that looked
stuff.
Fun.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that one looks really rad. But yeah, so that's what we're talking about now. It's
to me on PC.
I think I mean, if Microsoft owns it, I think they will because that's their whole mantra now is Xbox, PC, those things, and everything else too.
I want to play Deathloop on a console.
Well, I mean, next gen stuff is gonna look dope, but
still on a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think now you can plug those in. I feel like they have like native support. I know PlayStation does. So you can plug in whatever you want to there and it works. But yeah, this is just another confirmation from Jason Schreier that the fact that whatever contracts they had prior, Bethesda is going to honor those by having their timed exclusivity with Deathloop and Ghostwire, but everything else. So they said future Bethesda games will be on PC and Xbox and other consoles on a case-by-case basis. So what everyone's wondering is, okay, is the next Fallout going to be exclusive? Are they going to go multi-platform still? What's the deal?
Can you imagine?
That'd be nuts. Really, the ball's in Xbox's court, so they can decide what they want to do.
They can. Oh man, if they just like, I think. I mean, that's what. What do you think would be a bigger deal? I think Skyrim, or not Skyrim, but Elder Scrolls. If they said this
100%.
was oh fuck,
yeah, 100%. If they did that, people would just be insanely angry. But that's kind of, I want Xbox to make those moves more because they haven't this last gen.
Fucking make it.
Yeah.
Can you pick like there's a lot of franchises I've skipped.
Yep.
But
yeah, they need to kind of give people a reason more to own an Xbox, and they've been more consumer friendly by having everything released everywhere. You can play on your phone, you can do all this, but Sony's been getting these players on their side because they have these exclusive juggernauts that you want to play. And I want to see Xbox do that more just to kind of even things out a little bit.
But still think of the fucking glory that would be like you're done, like you got to go to work. Like the amount of times I've been riding a train for 45 minutes on the way to work in Chicago. And if I could just go from playing Elder Scrolls on my PC to jump on my phone and just playing that on the train.
Use up all your data in 1 second.
Yep. All of it.
But at least
my data plan is fucking terrible. It'd be gone instantly. But oh, can you just imagine popping back and forth
that's the
between the two into your Starfields, which will never release.
Although that's the interesting point that Xbox has, or the league that they're in, they can do that. They have the actual infrastructure to let you jump around and play on these different devices, and no one else really has an answer. That Stadia doesn't, because it still has all its issues, and they don't have a box you can play on still. So it's like with Xbox, you can, in theory, jump around.
It's sort of magical that the fact that the box, like as hard as companies have tried to make the box go away in the last like well over 10 years, the box is never going.
No, I don't see it going away, especially since it may be due to COVID, but there's been a huge influx in people building PCs. I built my PC for the first time this past couple months. So people getting a taste of that hardware, monster. You can build stuff, you can squeeze every bit of juice. Like they want that with their consoles. And I think we're seeing that high demand with this next gen too.
I'd be curious to know how much of that is influenced as well by the fact that console games are finally allowing graphic options. Like, do I want performance or do I want a better looking game? That's something PCs have had since the dawn of fucking time. Right. And now consoles finally have that. Yeah.
Yeah. When you're going from like PS4 to PS4 Pro, you have that interchangeable option, and people, you're right. Now they have that.
Not even that. They'll just put options in the game.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah.
Like, do you want performance mode or pretty? And I'm like, yeah, fucking pretty. I'm not here. But on PC, like, man, maybe you pay a little extra more money for your graphics card and you just turn pretty up to.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I think a lot of consumers are now getting a taste of those PC features. They've been there forever, and that's going to fully drive their want for hardware in general, like beefy hardware. So
now, when do they get free internet? Or free
All right.
gameplay on the
Yeah.
internet.
See, that's another. It's still rumored. Still, people are debating it. But does Xbox go to even make this thing fully consumer friendly? Do they drop that price tier with Xbox Live Gold? Do they stop that? It's all
Do you
it's all
s-
free.
if you have Game Pass, do you still have to pay for gold?
It's included in there. So yeah. So if you that maybe
Seems
that's
like
what
you're
they'll
not
do.
paying for it anymore.
Right. I think maybe that's what they'll do is like they'll try and get more subscribers to Game Pass where it's free or nullified, rather than just having Xbox Live Gold on its own.
I mean, I just got into Game Pass. I'm already fanboying it.
Yeah,
So I
there's
don't
so
know-
much
I don't, and I only have one game on it. So to be fair, but when I skim through that catalog, which is terribly curated, like find a better way to organize it. But
Ah.
I'm just like, there's stuff like Curion or whatever it was, that weird
Oh, yeah.
game where you're the
Carry On.
monster,
Yep.
fucking free.
Mhm. Yeah.
That was my thought. I was like, what if they bought Devolver? I don't think they can buy Devolver. I think Devolver is too much of a legal liability. I don't think
think so?
Microsoft would take. They give two fucks about what anyone thinks about them.
I think that would
and
even
that's
stop them
why
from
we
selling.
want them.
Yeah, yeah. But I think knowing that whole idea with them, they wouldn't want to be part of this big conglomerate because they want to.
I don't think they would. Yeah.
But that'd be a huge get, like if they could pull off that.
And like it seems like the owner of Devolver is like, he's a pretty chill fucking dude. So
Hmm.
I don't think he needs to be rich. I mean, he's rich. I don't think he needs to be mega rich. I think he's cool with like
Yeah.
making shit that he can, and they'll do fun stuff. Like they're not just a video game company. They make a ton of short films.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know that.
Like that's why their Devolver directs have been insane for the last however many years.
Ah,
No, that's their other shtick.
gotcha.
So I don't think they'll ever be able to buy them, but I don't know. I'd be curious if they could make a partnership with them.
Well, they did have like Carry On went to Game Pass, first, so like they have a good relationship with them. So it's
Yeah.
possible, at least buttering that relationship up more could happen in the future.
Yeah.
So we mentioned the 7.5 billion price tag. Just to put into context, we were talking before the show or at the beginning. So Microsoft's last huge buyout was of Mojang, who make Minecraft, for 2.5 billion in 2014, and Sony hasn't put that amount of dollars yet, that same amount of dollars rather, in a while. So they acquired Gaikai, which is their streaming service that they took parts of or manipulated and turned into the PlayStation Now. They paid 380 million for that in 2012, and then they bought last year for 229 million Insomniac Games. Still haven't hit the.
Oh, they
the
straight
billion.
up bought them.
Yeah, so they now acquired Insomniac.
Wow.
So I mean, it's nuts. That's a huge get for Microsoft to acquire ZeniMax.
I think there was a post I saw that was saying like with the studios that Microsoft gets with Bethesda, and again, I'm still not sure how this works because publisher, not owner of these studios, I thought. Anyway, but they're saying Microsoft has essentially gone from 16 or 15 first party studios to like 26.
Yeah, you're right.
And this is 26 dope as fuck
Yeah, these are juggernauts.
studios.
Because that's been the argument with Game Pass for a while. It's like, yeah, they have the best deal in gaming, but the exclusives aren't there, the games aren't there. This throws. I would argue that they are there. They have a lot of stuff there.
Yes.
But now there's no question they have fucking Bethesda under their wing. So they do own them. But Bethesda can still publish their own games. So I guess they can still make decisions on where they go. But Microsoft as a whole owns them completely.
I guess the next question is, so Bethesda was big enough that every other year they could have their own E3 press conference.
Yeah.
Do they still get their own? Or is Microsoft's about to get like...
Even better, yeah. I think someone had written on Twitter, it's like, oh, they finally put their like struggling conference out of misery because they had that initial one because now they're just like swooped up into Xbox.
It probably didn't need to be its own press conference.
It didn't.
After Fallout 4, you didn't need to exist.
No, that was the real big one where I think it was justified. Maybe the year after
Yeah.
that, I think they showed off Doom or something. But then after that, they're just kind of finding excuses to have one, and it didn't happen. Did they skip this year? I think they finally did skip this year.
They did. Thank fucking God.
Right.
No, the Doom one I remember being awkward because there were like 2 musical performances, and I'm
You're
like,
right.
and they even had one of my favorites out there,
Andrew
Andrew WK. I'm like, you can't like. He can do no wrong in my eyes.
Yeah, the crowd wasn't into it. That was for Rage 2. Remember he played the song?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if you're not gonna cheer on Andrew WK, I don't want to fucking be here.
Yeah, I guess if the crowd didn't know what was going to happen, they didn't sign up for that. They just want to see Rage or Bethesda in general.
Yeah,
I guess they were bummed out, but it's like, that's a free dope concert. Andrew WK is awesome. Yeah, they were just sticks in the mud, but I do remember that being very awkward. So, and now it's Microsoft's duty to handle the awkwardness with that.
Are we? I'm curious. What's
Mhm.
going on with the frame? Are we all the way in the image?
Yeah, we're good. It's just like a little red thing that extends out. But what we're seeing is is live. So
Okay.
they can't see you're not wearing pants underneath the table.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Just been jerking it this whole time.
Well,
I have a third arm. It's attached to my hip. Incredibly handy.
that's how we get those OnlyFans views. So Gavin, we covered that huge news with Bethesda.
Oh fuck, we got more.
Yeah, equally, and we can skim through these.
Jesus Christ.
But equally monumental, I'd say we finally got some PS5 details. We got a price. So let's jump into the price first. So we got $399 for the digital, $499 for the disc. I think they had to come out with that price because you definitely didn't want to go over the Xbox Series X price.
This pricing is incredibly smart between both of them. And I bet both of them knew where the other person was going to land.
I'm sure they had feelers out there. Yeah, for sure.
Man, it's so tough. And I've heard people are mad at like Xbox for having the Series X now or the S now because it's kind of holding things back. Because Sony is all one badass console, whether you get the $400 version or the $500 version. Whereas Xbox, you get the badass console or you get the pretty badass console.
I've heard the same argument. I'm not sure where I'd lie because I've seen different people explain it that it's not anything lackluster. It's slightly downscaled GPU and CPU, but it's still able to handle virtually the same fidelity
And hard drive.
And
Way
hard drive
scaled
is
down
500
hard drive,
gigs, which is not, that's especially going to next gen. Like it's Call of Duty that we talk about if it's one Call of Duty game plus an update.
Right.
So it seems like hardware wise, they're comparable, but so I think there's a conversation, there's an argument there, but at the very least they are in a great spot where they can undercut dramatically the PS4 with that $300 console.
Yes and no. I really think I would bet for this next generation because again, it's the same PlayStation, just one has a disc drive.
Yeah.
That's overpriced because Blu-ray drives do not cost that much. They're like $60.
Oh, there's 4K, but I don't know where 4K Blu-ray drives lie, but yeah, it is 4K. Right. Who gives a fuck?
I don't know. I really don't know. But when you look up Blu-ray players, Blu-ray players $65, 66 if you're just getting a drive. And you look at like $400 for that massive behemoth of hardware. And then so $500 for the Xbox, which is going to be very comparable. It's got the disc drive, and then the Series S,
which we have here. That's a fully working
my koozie.
Not made out of paper at all.
Yeah, I know.
I think I'm more interested in the Series S as like the cheapest entry point, because that's what I liked about the end of this generation. I got my 1X probably 3 years ago, and I love being able to play Game Pass, switch over to PS4, play those exclusives there, and I want to do that same thing going to next gen. And what makes that even more doable is the fact that the Series S is $300. Like it's super easy to jump in. I already got my PS4 pre-order, so I'm ready to go there. So, and the pre-orders go live tomorrow for both models of the Xbox.
I think the thing for me is like definitely like, and I know we're upgrading our PC. I mean, you're pretty well upgraded right now. I'm upgrading my PC is like, I mean, because of the way they're handling their exclusives, I don't need an Xbox. But that being said, if you're like a middle school kid or like a high school kid saving up your paper route money or whatever, like, this is good. And you can play with your friends who have a Series X. If crossplay gets to be a good thing this generation, you can play with your friends that are playing on a PlayStation 5, the cheap version or whatever. Like, if people properly support it, that being said, it does kind of hold things back, which sucks. You shouldn't have.
I think time will tell that. I'm not sure if I fully agree with that, but I think time will tell. We'll see. If anything, at least with the newest Halo, the 1X, the series, the regular Xbox was holding that game back for sure, because you have now 4 different SKUs, different hardware. But I'm not sure if that's.
But
really
that's the other thing. We're also now in like 2 generations in a row where we've allowed for an HD version of that console, and I still think that's bullshit. But so we're in such a weird fuckery of.
It is a double-edged sword, right?
So that's why PC is almost the smartest decision you can do.
I think, especially with Xbox, you have all the games on PC, the same games too.
Yeah.
But you're right. It does. At the end of the day, it possibly does hold it back. We'll see how it goes. But what it does open up when it does hold games back, it opens
Yeah.
up the fact that now more people can jump in and play it, which is
It
going to strengthen
absolutely does.
their base, their gamer base. So
That's the big thing too. Is Xbox allows for this layaway purchasing of your
Right.
console. You get to pay for it. I think these are $22 a month.
yeah, which is
That's if you're a kid that has an allowance, that's your allowance for the month right there. You can do that. You can save up and buy a game every few months. But if you have Game Pass, which you're getting Game Pass while paying the $22 a month for this
You
thing,
are.
that's an insane deal.
yeah, that's actually crazy insane.
You have a you have over 100 games plus that's crazy, and then there's nothing like that on Sony's end.
There isn't, and we're gonna see how they land with this. Really, the first couple months of the year are gonna kind of prove like which decision was the right one, or not the right one, but like what has the most benefits. They're kind of going their own route. I think this is them going their own route.
They are. I think the big three have never been more split,
Yeah,
and that's exciting.
and Switch is over the fence going, oh, we'll give you a game for 3 months, and then that's the only time you can buy it, and we'll see you later.
It's fucking bullshit.
It is, yeah. So I mean, we some of this stuff is pretty cool. They announced Spider-Man, or they shown off more actual gameplay. Spider-Man Miles Morales talked about how there is a $50 version of the game itself, the actual Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's actually going to be on PS4 and PS5, which is pretty nuts to me.
Yeah.
We talk about not holding games back. I feel like this holds it back, but maybe we'll see the two different. I really am waiting for digital.
You saw how
Foundry.
pretty the last
That's the thing. You're
version of like it barely needs a next gen.
Yeah,
version.
yeah. So that's the thing. It's like these really aren't the ones that are gonna hold anything back. They
Right.
showed off Demon Souls. Yeah, Demon Souls.
Uh-huh.
They showed off gameplay of that, and that one looks insanely nuts. And this is only PS5 for now, and it looks insane. So I'm glad that this doesn't have like a cross gen kind of thing.
So I see Deathloop on here. That's
Yeah.
also coming to PS4 as well, right?
I'm not sure. I don't
It
have an answer
doesn't.
for you on
To
that.
me, it doesn't look next gen. It really doesn't look like it needs next gen hardware to run.
For Deathloop, I think you're
Yeah.
right. Maybe that could have been a cross generational. I think for sure. But and we're looking at footage of it now.
Oh.
It's still a crazy, cool looking game. They showed off this trailer, showed off a bit more of like what you're doing. You have these different enemies you have to kill in certain ways so that you can actually get out of the loop itself. I can't wait for this game.
And what they're pointing out in this particular trailer is that like it sounds like if you're trying to kill this boss in the traditional way, you have to wait, it sounds like, till the end of the day to kill him. And if you do that, you can't kill all the other bosses.
Right.
So you have to trick them to going to a party with one of the other bosses so you can kill them both in one swoop. The fact that it is going to be this game where you have to keep experiencing it over and over again, and really divulging into how to get one perfect timeline is, God, that gets
It's like a puzzle in its own in itself, aside from the gameplay.
just rock hard. But no, but I mean, that's what like these time loop games do a good job of. Like Majora's Mask did a fantastic job of this. I think they really experimented with this when that Dishonored kind of gameplay with that DLC, where it was sort of like a roguelite, but you're trying to get everything right in one perfect run.
Oh, gotcha. I didn't try that.
Fuck.
And Dishonored did a little bit of this. You could just see like the entry points of them kind of figuring this gameplay out, where you could choose to kill the main bosses or not. That's just like the beginning points of this. And I could see eventually, if Dishonored kicked and was more successful, this could have been the same thing. They would have taken this gameplay idea and put it in Dishonored, but the fact that it's here is nuts. And they're focusing more on action gameplay, on gunplay rather. It's like it's just way more of what I want. And then you still have the cool abilities like you do in Dishonored. So it looks rad. And the art style is really cool. You're right that I think this could be on current gen, and maybe it will, but I haven't seen any announcements to that degree. But
I mean, this looks current gen as hell.
it does. Yeah. Maybe they can add some ray tracing,
Like good
Who wants
current
it?
gen, but yeah, like
That's also a testament to the legs that the current gen has. I mean, we talk about PS4 or Spider-Man on PS4. It still looks awesome.
I think current gen's a solid piece of machinery.
Now they showed off Demon Souls 4K gameplay. What did you play the original at all?
No, I haven't played a Souls. The only Souls-like game I ever played was that 2D one. But yeah, I think that was something that bugged me about earlier Souls games. Is I personally thought, I think their art's direction was brilliant, but because these environments were so incredibly big, these bosses were so incredibly big, the graphics, they had to really tone them down and they look kind of shit. So the later Souls games is when they really, especially like Bloodborne on, is when these games graphically
Sure.
just took the fuck off and have really just enraptured me in the way they look. But it wasn't until that point where I gave a shit in these stylized visuals. Now that we're getting the original stylization mixed with fantastic visuals, god damn, sir.
Yeah.
God damn. And this is being handled by a studio that knows how to port a fucking game.
Yeah, Blue Point, they're absolute pros at this whole thing. And this is like almost it could be its own game. Like, yeah, they're starting with the bones of Demon Souls, but it's like they've just completely hit out of the park with this.
I think one thing with Blue Point, though, there have been so many studios that start off as port studios. And that's just what they do until they eventually get their shot and just wreck the fucking industry with their game. I mean, Blue Point, don't get me wrong. I love your points, your ports, but
Want to see an original from them?
if they ever get an original, I bet it's going to knock the socks off the entire industry. And we're all going to be having to like catch up after that point.
That's a very good point because they've spent these years just picking apart mechanics, learning them from the inside out, having to deal with stuff that they have to improve or make, better quality of life or just, manipulating gameplay points. It's like they've built their bread and butter on that. So yeah, I can't wait for them to tackle their own thing. Although I don't want them to stop recreating these awesome games though.
Sure.
I want to see this stuff with everything.
I mean, that's the thing though. Somebody else will just take up the mantle. Like you look at the studio that's making like these crazy Switch ports.
Sure.
Of games that shouldn't be portable to the Switch. Like when they start making their own, honestly,
Bethesda with their ports, like of Doom, of Wolfenstein, like they really know how to, and that's another, I think they work with another developer to do that. I forget the name of that developer, but they're also experts at porting stuff and working with very limited hardware too. This scene in particular here looks insane to me. Just the lighting, it's daylight, but you have the fire reflecting. It's insane.
To me, this is what I hope that the creators of Dark Souls had in their head when they were making this ugly looking game. And again, I'm sorry to people who really love this game, but I've always found it atrocious to look at.
It's dated for sure. Yeah,
it's so dated. It was dated when it came out, but fuck.
Right.
This is that nightmare that you play for 1,000 hours straight right there. I'll probably fucking play it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm terrible at this type of game, but it looks so pretty. I want to try it. That was my way with that same not roguelike, but that super hard game I played, that I played the beta. I'm blanking on the name of it, but it was also crazy beautiful, but it was just like this. It was just a demanding, crazy hard game. Kept dying
Mortal Shell.
Mortal Shell, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that game was a looker though.
For sure. We can touch lightly on this, but we talk about Game Pass. This is PlayStation's, at least they're getting to the point where they have some kind of thing.
It's an attempt at an attempt.
You're right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So they have,
because we're looking at not Battlefield 5 here, but Battlefield 1,
which I'm not sure if the community panned that one or
that was the one before the most recent one.
Gotcha.
No, that one was good, but that's also when they started trending on the line of more like de-incentivizing using vehicles, which vehicles has always been one of the biggest parts of Battlefield. And so now they're like, nah, infantry combat.
Gotcha.
Jigga. Jerking the two dicks at once, but mainly just the one, which is infantry. Sorry to everyone.
Yep. Apologies. So that's one of the games you mentioned. So that's in the PlayStation Plus collection that they announced at that PS5 event. So it's a bunch of first-party stuff, which is dope. You got Last of Us Remastered. I'm not going to list them all. There's a bunch of them. You have third-party stuff, Persona 5. You have Resident Evil Biohazard. You have Days Gone, as well as Bloodborne, Detroit Become Human. So a bunch of first-party stuff there. It's good to see them do this. I'm hoping that they start adding games along the way, but this is going to be free for PS5 owners. So once you get it day one.
Well, by free, you mean you have to pay for PlayStation
True.
Plus.
It's the same thing with like Xbox Live being added to Game Pass. You're right. It's free with PlayStation Plus, but yeah, it's pretty dope. I want to see them make more of these moves because they are definitely lacking in that whole subscription service thing that Xbox has their number on for sure.
And we sort of talked about it, which is like, it's got some really solid entries though, but it also doesn't have the newest version. So like we have Last of Us Remastered, but not Last of Us 2. We have, get back here. So we have Battlefield 1, but not Battlefield 5. We have what is it? Infamous Second Son, but not whatchamacall Majiggy Jig.
The newer or Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah.
Yeah, not even close to what I just said.
They might be waiting. I wonder if these are like they're like especially with Last of Us and Tsushima because they're so recent. They're waiting to drop a Juggernaut announcement like, hey, this is now on PlayStation Plus.
Is
collection.
that a Juggernaut or is that sort of like
It's a huge game?
Gears 5 or whatever Gears we're on at this point, where it's just like, no, here's just like we can just turn on the settings and make this looker even bigger of a looker.
Sure. I mean, I think it's different arguments or conversation, but
sure.
I mean, that's what I think why they're holding out on those newer games, but maybe they're waiting to have those announcements that hey, this thing is going live finally.
So, how many games on here do you want?
I've played all these, so but that's the thing of I'm coming out. I've had the PS4 this entire generation.
Right.
I think this is calling out to people to get them to switch sides and to have you have this full unlocked, catalog for your PS5 when you get it day one. Right. But this appeals not to me, but I think to people on the other side of the fence as a way to get them back in, or to show like, hey, you have all these games that are playable. When you get your PS5, whether you have games or not. It's cool, but yeah, it's just I have all this stuff, but I think it definitely doesn't diminish the fact that for anyone who doesn't have a PS4 or skip this generation, these are some of the biggest games ready to download.
That's the other thing that bugs me about this, and I mentioned this in text to you, but it's like with Game Pass, you can download these on PC, your current whatever Xbox, and the next Xbox, whereas this is just PlayStation 5 for whatever reason.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe they can.
So dumb.
You're right that there's no PS4 option. I guess it's just another incentive. They're trying to get people to get the PS5, and this is the way in. But I mean, as a PS4 owner, I have a lot of these games, so that's what doesn't appeal to me. But
I forgot a thing I did this weekend. Finally finished The Mandalorian.
Oh, nice.
This is the way. Can't wait for season 2.
Yeah, it's soon too.
Ooh,
it's very soon.
Daddy. Oh,
Mando can wreck me whenever he wants. So we got just to kind of capitalize or cap the PS5 event. So they did give a teaser to God of War 2. And one thing I found nuts is that their goal, and I think it's going to get pushed back, but their goal is 2021, which seems insane to me.
Not a fucking chance in hell.
But then why would they go with that date committed to the trailer? Like, why do that? It seems insane to me.
They shouldn't have done it. They've got one of the least reliable dev teams as far as hitting dates on the face of Earth, which is that team. They make great games. They don't hit deadlines.
Yeah. So I have the same mentality where it's like, why announce that? You're almost shooting yourself in the foot, especially with a game where I don't want them to cut corners and try and rush it out. If they can make that 2021 date, I want them to take their sweet ass time with it. That's a huge game. Now, if you watch there was that God of War documentary.
Man, I really just I'm just saying it now. I really want Kratos to die in this one and Boy takes over. That's all I want. Just give me God of Boy.
God of Boy. I think that'd be a tougher sell.
God. I don't know what it is at this point.
Boy of God. Well, there was Last of Us 2 had a huge character die out that maybe not everybody knows about. That character dies. I think this would be
Jay Leno?
Jay Leno dies in Last of Us 2. I think if they finally kill Kratos, that would be an even bigger a huge uproar on the internet for them to like get rid of that guy.
I think everyone's ready for it though. Like I feel like that last game prepped us. We're so excited for Boy.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you not want Boy to have his own game? Do you not want him to take up this mantle?
I think I want at least one or two more with Kratos. And then if they can build Boy enough where he has his own story arc that's worthwhile, then I think you can hand the mantle. But I think they need to build those blocks right now. They need to set that up.
I don't know.
But it's possible.
Just at the end of God of War, where like where Kratos and Boy, because I can't say his name because it's a fucking spoiler. But
his regular name is Atreus. That's his regular name.
Atreus and Kratos are so in sync that when you get to that last boss battle, it's 50-50. You're whooping ass as a team.
They handle that really well, where you're actually leaning on his abilities, and it's like a dance that you're doing with him. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
So you take that away, like Soul's fucking crushed.
You're right that for at least story beat wise, that they always have that in their pocket, to use that. But it's got to be earned. It's got to make it's got to make sense. But I would trust them to handle that. But as far as like nailing that 2021, did you watch that God of War doc where they kind of talk about the whole time developing that last God
I
of
know
War?
they were broke for most of it.
Well, there's a lot of issues that
They're
led
like,
to-
this scene cost half our budget.
yeah,
It's the best scene in the game, but that was half our budget,
Right.
which to me doesn't make sense. I feel like you could have done that scene way cheaper.
I don't know, but I would trust that they know what they're talking about, Gavin.
Like,
But-
oh, the screen wiped out for a second. That was $10,000. Was it though? Who
Maybe
are
it
you
just didn't-
paying to white out the screen?
That might equate to like dev time or whatever. I'm not sure. But so in that doc, the only reason why I bring it up is that they mention a lot of the reasons that why the game was pushed so far, the last God of War, or as far as like timeline wise,
They couldn't get the gameplay right.
they couldn't get the gameplay right. They also
Yeah.
argued on story beats to decide. But now with that out of the way, they have an engine that works. They have a story that they imagine that's planned out. So that gives me, if there's any hope that to hit 2021, at least they have those things nailed, which plagued the whole development time of the last God of War. So if they have those things taken care of, they have an engine where they want it to be. They know where they want the story to go. So they've had 3 years, which is still a very short amount of time. But that gives me hope that they can. And the fact that I don't think they would, knowing that whole studio, I don't think they'd put a date if they didn't know that, okay, we can make this. So it's like
Who
stuff on
says they
paper.
put that date?
Well, you're right. I don't know if that's Sony, but why would Sony, knowing like that studio or Naughty Dog, why would they impose that on them?
It's the 30-minute rule.
Explain that to me.
So this is something I learned about recently. Watching a pilot or on like one of those like Vice or whatever sites where it's like a pilot reviews TV shows and movies on stuff.
Okay.
And they were talking about the 30-minute rule in 30 Rock, where who's the Born Identity guy?
Yeah. I was thinking Jason Bourne, but that's just his name.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg. No, I know you're talking
It's
about
not Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
He looks very similar. They
Yeah.
hang out at basketball games.
Right.
Anyway, so that character, Matt Damon?
that. Matt Damon. Yep.
Yeah,
No.
Matt Damon. He's talking about the 30-minute rule, which when you're stalling your plane, like they don't know how much longer they're going to be sitting on the tarmac for. So they keep telling people 30 minutes because it's short enough that you're not going to get angry.
Right.
But long enough that you're like, all right, we're going to be here for a little bit.
Yeah.
They keep saying 30 more minutes.
You think this
30
is that?
minute rule. That's what we just fucking got with God of War.
I don't know. I don't think so, but okay.
But that being said, I like what you're saying about the planning with the story, because I feel like the first 3 God of Wars came out fucking quick. That was a trilogy. And to my understanding, because I can't play all 3 of them, just the first one, solid trilogy. Fantastic.
Yeah, I think fans of it
plots.
really, really dug it. Yeah, for sure.
So do they have all 3 planned? They might.
Well, I know Corey
They sure as
Barlog,
fuck might.
he mentioned that there was content that had to be cut, whether it's financial or whatever time wise. There's content that was cut. So they had, I think, a lot of stuff planned out where they want to take this new entry. So I mean, there is, I could see a through point where they can nail it, but it's just got to be insanely hard. And why put those limits on them as a studio? It's like, let them kind of breathe. I think that you don't want to fuck up that next God of War at all.
I think they can handle it. I think they shouldn't have put the time limit on it. Just tell us it's in production.
Yeah.
It's not going to meet that date. This game's going to be dope as fuck.
I would have to imagine it is. And you mentioned, so it's 2021. That gives them a year, but this is a year with an announcement, and they just showed us a logo, not like gameplay or something like that. So that also seems very weird. Like, can they nail that 2021? I don't know.
No.
But okay. I mean, we'll see.
Call it a hard no. It's going to be game of the year whenever it comes out.
Oh, for sure.
It will be, which is not going to be 2021.
No, I'd say 2022 at the earliest, but
Yes.
we'll see. Unless it's some kind of like God of War 2.5, which I don't think they want to do either, but we will see. They also will very lightly touch over the fact that PlayStation really fucked up the whole pre-order thing. They end the conference without a date. They just say like, well, you can hear from us soon. And then within an hour.
That being said, you pre-ordered 2.
I did. So I lucked out or something, but I was on Twitter constantly. So I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't check on my stuff in the oven. I was just on Twitter constantly.
So one of my coworkers' friend bought 5. These
Jesus.
Target, like one of these people, I think it was Target, wasn't limiting how many you could buy.
Interesting.
So if you wanted to buy like 100 through Target,
okay, and just put them on eBay.
mark that
Right.
shit up.
Yeah, and I was able to get 2. One was through Target and one was through Sony. So that's one thing Sony botched. They had a whole website set up a month ago, where you could set up with your PlayStation Network name, to be first to be notified to actually pre-order the thing. That didn't actually work out. You couldn't pre-order till Friday, which I did, and then I just canceled my Target order. But
to be honorable, because he offered to let me take that pre-order, which I could have, and I said no.
You're still being the haterade guzzler
It's
that you
not
are.
haterade. There's nothing at launch that I need.
You're very,
What do I need?
I'm just such a fanboy. It's like I have to get it. If I'm going to pre-order one, it's going to be that one. But you're right.
Right.
Is there anything there day one you need? I do want Spider-Man Miles Morales to be fully unlocked on PS5. That's my whole reason to get it. But I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But so they botched the
I'll
whole...
get one though. It's the old, like I've gone a full generation without a Sony console.
You have. Keep it
and there
rolling.
are games I've missed.
Yeah.
God of War, that's really the only one I care about. I will plow through Last of Us because you're about to break my kneecaps if I don't.
It's such a fucking great game, Kevin. You're insane. But yeah, there's
I don't think
a ton.
you realize 10-minute load times on my PlayStation 3?
Yeah.
10-minute load times.
Was it lifting up just from the airflow alone? Like
there was no
fan spinning?
airflow. That shit was clogged with cat hair.
Maybe it makes it stronger somehow, but just like
No, it
reinforces.
fucking doesn't. I think it was mostly my disk drive, but oh man, that killed. Like, and you die a lot in that game.
Yeah, so if you're seeing that every time you're loading, I could see, oh yeah, that would turn you off for sure. But yeah, so I mean, to cover it, they botched the PS5 pre-orders. All the different retailers went live first, and then Sony went on. But they did put out a tweet, which I really respected. I want to see more of that honesty. But they put out a tweet on Saturday morning. They said, let's be honest, PS5 pre-orders could have been a lot smoother. We truly apologize for that. Over the next few days, we will release more PS5 consoles for pre-order. Retailers will share more details, and more PS5s will be available through the end of the year. I just appreciated this honesty. I know it's hard for companies, like especially this huge, to right these wrongs or to at least have a comment saying, like, taking ownership. Hey, we fucked this up. This is a little bit of that. I want to see more of that. And I just dug that they finally said, because they didn't say anything for a while. Even when all these pre-orders are going live, they're not saying anything. Like Walmart's going live, Target's going live.
Well, people went live early, didn't they?
They did. So that was the big thing. It's retailers, which is out of their control. But they also ended the
Absolutely.
conference without a secure date. Like they updated Twitter with this stuff. It seemed very strange.
Yeah.
And out of all people, Jeff Keighley was the one who had all the news. Like after they ended their conference, Jeff Keighley went on Twitter saying, hey, pre-orders go live Friday. And then Sony does. And then Jeff Keighley goes, I'm hearing that all these retailers are going live today. And Sony, meanwhile, didn't say anything. And sure enough, they go live. So Jeff Keighley had the info before anybody else did.
Jeff Keighley should not be your press outlet.
No, and I'm taking a knee for Jeff Keighley. He's the real superstar here.
God, he's just earned more respect. Aside from that terrible shit show that was Need for Speed, which we haven't even talked about that. No, we have talked about that.
Yeah, that's how bad it was. We totally
Ooh.
forgot about it. Yeah. I mean, they needed the whole like Hollywood vibe. They need to pay the bills. I think that's why they
paid
introduced-
the bills with this garbage fire.
No Gillette Man
of,
this time, so they had the Fast and Furious cast on.
There was a
screen.
Gillette Man.
Do you remember that one of the Game Awards had the Gillette or shave guy? He's like a whole. He had a razor head as a.
Is this a look at me? Now look back at your man. Now look at me.
No, it's like Gillette Game Awards. This is it's a well-known thing, but okay.
Dr. Disrespect?
No, it's like a razor. It's like a dude dressed up as like a superhero razor guy.
Ooh, Gillette, the best
I'm sure I can find you the video of him.
If you haven't heard Dr. Disrespect's Gillette remix, it's
This guy,
fucking
Hydro
tight.
Chic Man.
Yeah. Why don't you have a game? Ooh, I see we got Ninja here. He's back at Twitch now.
He is, yeah.
And apparently whooping ass again. So
Nice. Well, he's gotten paid, so I have no. I don't feel bad for him at all.
That's crazy. He got his full contract
Yeah,
despite
they just paid him
not
out.
fulfilling it. That's Oof. Can you imagine?
That's the best deal in the world. He already has the best life, and on top of that, yeah, he got paid out for.
He's not back at the crazy numbers that he was, but he's still like, I think last I saw him, he was at like 35,000, which is insane.
That's
Shroud's
insane.
back. Like we've got all these big people back, and it's I say we like I still
Yeah.
fucking
Me and the
stream.
boys.
Yeah, me and the boys, me and Shroud and Ninja. We're just
We'll give them that ends it for PS5 news. So the pre-orders, just to juxtapose that, we have pre-orders for Xbox going live tomorrow, which I am going to try and get the Series S if I can do the P or the.
in addition to the
I think so. I'm nuts. If I can do the payment plan thing, I think I'm going to jump in. I think I
35 a month is doable.
right, I cannot pay something to pay that.
That's more powerful.
I just like look at this. It's so cute, and I just want the 1S or the Series.
Oh,
S.
you're getting the 1S.
the Series S.
So $22 a month or $25 a month is fine. But
They're almost paying
again,
me.
That's fucking.
Yeah.
That's 2 of this.
Although the plan is, I can have this at my for the TV in the living room, and then I can, because I don't want to
Right.
lug this thing around back and
Right.
forth.
Again,
so
it
for
comes down
$300,
to the crossplay.
yes.
Your one nephew's on that. You're on that. You got
Mhm.
another nephew on the phone.
Yep. We're all just not talking to each other, just playing games, as God intended, Gavin.
As God intended.
So now let's
So-
recap some of these games that just came out. These 2 recent ones. Super Mario 3D All Stars. Do you have any interest in playing this? I haven't downloaded it
I have
yet.
all 3. I don't give a fuck.
Really? Damn. You know what? I did see Digital Foundry did a great.
Actually, I don't know if I have Galaxy 1. I
Mm.
know I have Galaxy 2. I loved what I played of it, but I don't know if I have 2.
Well, Digital
or
Foundry
1.
did a comparison of like what actually was up-res and improved. I guess Sunshine got the most benefit.
I've heard some legit complaints
Sure.
about all of them.
Yeah, because it's not like they remastered; they just kind of like ported them directly.
I mean, Super Mario 64 had dick for controls. Like you don't remember them being that bad, and then you pick up
Oh, I'm
that
sure.
64 controller and play it, and it's just fucking garbage. But yeah, so it's got shitty controls. Still a revolutionary game.
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure.
Super Mario Galaxy was built for that GameCube controller specifically. And they've said this definitively. You need those triggers. You need this controller to play this game properly. This one had, they make these games to showcase these consoles.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they're showing Wii footage, but then they do the comparison,
yeah.
and I think it benefited from it for sure. This one was it's still locked at 60. I guess the original was at 60 as well, but it looks way better, or just improved. I think Sunshine looks dramatically more improved, and then 64 is basically like the same game sent over. Even the same like aspect ratio. It's not like widescreen or anything like that.
Right.
But I do want to get this. It's just I don't have any intention right now. But I think I'll wait till the last
Right.
moment before it's non-available online for whatever reason. But yeah,
I may skip it. I feel like it's going to come back out of the vault because
yeah,
like
you'd have to
this
imagine.
takes effort to
Right.
remake or remaster all these games. Maybe they'll make a 3D World 2. Maybe they'll make 3D plus 2D. That being said, I've heard the point that, man, like Galaxy 1 is still a looker.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's the
most recent of them. Yeah. I mean, if they really wanted to cash out, if they remade these completely in that newer Odyssey engine, they would all look fucking amazing. But I think they're doing the bare minimum to get a cash grab with these things. But
That's definitely not that. Wow, the Wii version of this cutscene looks like shit.
it does.
Holy shit. That is
And we're watching the Digital
that's
Foundry.
rough.
Yeah, and they improved the cutscenes as well as the gameplay on the Switch version.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand it's not easy to remake these in the Odyssey engine, but I'm saying if they did that, it would just be way more of an incentive for everyone to buy this. Like it would just look even more awesome. It'd be a full-fledged, remake, remaster kind of thing. I think this is just these straight ports.
I think it's gonna be interesting. Actually, that was something I forget whether it was Digital Foundry whose video I was watching when they were kind of breaking down like stuff about these footage. But apparently, Super Mario Sunshine, part of the reason people may not have loved it is it was super rushed. The development was very, very rushed,
Really?
apparently, and that's why like there were apparently all those parts where you didn't have your water pack were because they couldn't design around it, and they just made these levels where you didn't have your water pack.
Interesting.
So if they'd had more time, yeah, they could have just made these levels where everything was cohesive, and they couldn't. But that being said, that inspired Galaxy, and Galaxy was dope.
Yeah. I think the water pack turned off a lot of people too. At least when I was a kid when this came out,
right.
this did look. It wasn't. I didn't know at the time. I did want this, and then Odyssey really kind of
Right.
like nailed it in the head, where it's like I do want this other aspect of gameplay to it.
I think it's the tricky thing with Mario, and I think that we really need the two different Marios. We need the 3D worlds, right? We need these and the 3D worlds, the galaxies, where it's like a linear set of levels or a semi-linear set of levels. But we also need these open world, hub world games like Mario 64,
Odyssey.
Sunshine, and then Odyssey. Like they
That's true.
both need to exist simultaneously because people want both.
Right.
Very distinct.
I think you're right about that.
There was pizza cooking in the other room, and it smells
I
fucking.
think she's making chicken. So I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign.
Oh,
but-
smells so dope.
Pizza chicken. So yeah, that came out. Hades. You have any interest in Hades? We kind of talked a little bit about that.
I played a shitload of Hades. It's fucking.
So you played it when it
hard.
originally came out on PC?
No, not when it originally came out.
Oh, okay.
I jumped in when it came to Steam because I think
Gotcha.
it was originally if I have this correct, I think it was, maybe I have this backwards.
But there was like a
Um,
beta or
Yeah, it came out in super early alpha on either Steam or Epic, and then it went to the other one when it was like very polished.
gotcha.
Um, and now it's like this is polished to a mere shine.
I'm seeing people are loving this because it just came out. I want to say to console or to Switch. There's some kind of revitalization of it.
Well, this is 1.0. This is the release.
Gotcha.
They're saying the game is done.
Fully done.
They're gonna keep, I'm sure, adding a bit to it. But that's like what we were talking about with this, because you're not particularly loving of roguelites. And this is like, the combat is just so fucking dope. But in addition to that, like, you think Rogue Legacy, which you played Rogue Legacy,
Yep.
right? Oh, okay. Well, there's like between runs, you're adding and you're gaining more power between runs. So that helps you in these runs, but this has lore in between runs. So you just got like
Gotcha.
talking to all these different people and adding to the story bit by bit. And there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of, well, it may just be those 3,000s worth of voice lines, but that's 3 fucking thousands
Yeah.
worth of voice lines.
Which a lot of roguelikes don't really focus on that, right?
No, nobody
On the
does.
story aspect of
This
it,
is
yeah.
unheard of.
Yeah.
This is insane. So you have this game which is the deepest lore. Even while you're failing, you're still adding to your own story and doing all this stuff, and that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, I listened to a GameSpot review, and they mentioned the same aspects of it, that the story's really strong. You talked about how I'm not a fan of roguelikes really in general, but if the gameplay is solid enough, that usually is enough of a carrot to kind of keep me going. That's how it was with West of Dead, where
Yeah,
I hated that I was so bad at the game, but the gameplay was so solid.
I think you would like this, like West of Dead, though. Like, that's very much like a twin stick version of Dead Cells, and I don't think you gave Dead Cells enough of a shot.
No.
Because it's like the gameplay is just fucking like, when you're leaning into every enemy in the room with no fear, like, you know, their timing down to a T.
Yeah. And you have to earn that. It's a matter of getting over that hump.
Absolutely. You have to get good. This game gets you good. That being said, I have a hard time, like, in Dead Cells, you can get good, but you don't have to master bullet hell. This game, you have to get good, but you also have to be able to dodge 1,000 projectiles at certain points. And I, despite like Nuclear Throne being one of my, honestly, probably my favorite roguelite of all time, I still suck at bullet hells.
Gotcha.
And again, Nuclear Throne is bullet helly as fucking shit.
Mm.
There's times where you're literally dodging over 100 bullets on screen at once. And you're like, this is fine. I can do this.
I'm used to this.
I've dodged more.
Nice.
But we should probably bring up, I know we're running long on time,
gonna
but
end on
Spelunky 2 is out now.
Yes.
Fuck.
That's still locked in the console, right? So you haven't been able to.
It
try
is,
this.
yeah. It comes out, I think, on the 26th on PC. And we've got the Northern Lion here. Yeah, it's I thank God they fixed the visual style, because people were, when they first showed it, people were like, this is bland as hell. So they did fix it. These demon ladybugs. So they fixed the visual style. They made it more interesting.
You got the new mechanics, like the little companion you can ride.
Yeah, you can ride people. I've been watching some extremely professional gamers playing this game, and they're struggling in the first couple of levels. I don't know what chance I stand of ever beating this game. I really don't.
But you have the experience of the first one, so at least you understand. Like, the
Yeah, so
general
did
idea.
these people who are running around like crazy.
But is that the goal with the next one, to make it harder, or are they making the gameplay just, different enough? Like, what would you want out of a Spelunky 2?
Fuck, I don't even know how to answer that question.
But not just be harder in general. Like, you have to, and it seems like they're adding a bunch of new stuff to it.
That's what I want. I want new stuff. Twists on the classic gameplay, new areas, and it sounds like that's what you have and more. It's really like, I can't imagine like being a new player jumping into this game, because it looks so cute, and boy, is the gameplay just not cute.
That's I understand that. Just from talking with you, I understand that. It's
Yeah,
not
that
easy.
guy just killed themselves with a die in the
God.
gambling room. Like, yeah, that can kill you in one shot just walking out of a door.
Right.
There's so many things that can kill you in this game. instantly. Like you can have 99 health, which you start out the game with 4 and can get to 99 and then just instantly die. Like someone probably did just there. I don't
Right.
know that they had 99, but that probably would have instantly get. What the fuck is this gun?
It's a
It
space gun.
clones
Oh,
them?
clones. Nice.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, this is a trailer, so this might be showing off stuff in the middle to end, but yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's can you not throw them in the? Oh, yeah, you can.
I wonder when this is coming out to PC, because that's kind of your
the 26th.
gotcha. So it's not super far off. So
Yeah. What is that? The end of this week?
yeah,
It's
it's 21st. Yeah, you're right. This Friday, possibly.
So,
So then you think this is gonna absorb most of your time playing this for sure?
yeah.
Just take the phone off the hook and jump into Spelunky 2.
Yep.
Nice. But yeah, that's coming out soon. I think if this is on Game Pass or something, I would definitely jump in just to try it. But I don't know if I want to pay the bills. But I do. It looks interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Gavin. Yeah, we'll end up that one. Where can they find you online?
You can find me on Twitter
In your
at
bed?
Drunk Dev. Sorry.
You're falling asleep as we speak, Gavin.
Yes.
Alrighty, well, you can keep up with us as well on Twitter at Plastic Pod. We will end it there. We'll see you guys next week. That's it for us this week. Bye bye.